Hey everyone, this is Martin from howtomakemobilegames.com on October the 19th, 2016. It's a Wednesday early afternoon here in Manchester, England. I'm now back in England. So it's been a long time, like 10 years I've not been back in England. Very strange, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. This video is just a general update of the things that I've been doing now that I'm back in England, and also talking about the cancelling of a big project of ours as well, which is really the main point of this video. Let me, again, as you guys know in these videos, it's unscripted, and I'm just going to talk through what's been happening these past few days, what I've been focusing on, and sort of some changes that personally have happened. So the big thing is, as I just said, I'm now back in England. I came over roughly around 10 days ago, and you might have seen that I spent about 7 days or something in Spain, in Malaga, around that area, and that was really cool. That was just a quick holiday with my family, but I miss it so much. Oh my god, it was gorgeous. I can't stand the cold anymore. I can't handle it. I might acclimatise to the UK weather, and I don't think it's just the temperature change. It's also the humidity change as well. But there you go. It's that's sort of outside, and it's nice and clear in England. We don't get blue skies like that. You might not be able to see it. It might be coming through white on the screen, but it's blue. It's really nice and blue, and it's very clear. English air feels a lot cleaner than Shanghai air, of course. Usually in Shanghai it's just a grey haze. It's not like clouds, it's not like clumps of clouds. It's just a grey haze that's over the city, which is like smog. But it's so strange, it's just so strange. Sometimes I think one of the strange things that's kind of hit me since I've been back, because it's been 10 years, is the horizon is different. Because in Shanghai or the Chinese cities, it's always, tall buildings everywhere. You don't see such a flat horizon in Shanghai. That's one thing, and that feels very strange. And then the other thing is clouds as well. I see, like, when I see the clear clumps of cloud formations, the types of ones where you can make images out of them in your mind. Oh, that looks like a rabbit, or that looks like a dog, or whatever. Seeing those is really strange as well. It's so weird. Lifestyle-wise is different. Actually, this area is a little bit too quiet for me. So what I've been doing is I've been going to a shopping centre called the Trafford Centre, which is near where I used to live before. This is actually a new house where my parents moved, and I've moved in with my family for a bit. So I'm going to be staying with them probably for several months, and that's great. I have no rush to go out and rent anywhere. I've been living on my own for I've been living away from my family for 13 years, ever since I was in university. But it's a big change. It's really a big change in England. Understanding people is just weird. It's so weird. Now, I understand Chinese a little. My Chinese is sort of beginner, intermediate. And I can understand the general gist of conversations if people are speaking slowly enough or clearly enough, if they've not got a heavy accent, and I can get the gist of things. But even if I do understand what they're saying exactly, there's no emotion connected to the Chinese language, or not heavy emotion for me, because obviously I'm English, and so the way that people say things in Chinese, the emotions behind the words that they're saying is not very clear to me. Because my Chinese honestly isn't very good. But with English, obviously my native language, and especially in Manchester, I hear every conversation. I understand every conversation. I can hear the emotion with it. It's so weird. It's so weird, and I'm getting used to it. And it's so strange, like the style of people compared to China as well. It kind of hit me as well. It's this is going to turn into a personal rant video. I hope it isn't. I will get onto game development stuff in a moment, I promise, guys. But it's so strange. Like one of the big differences in between Shanghai specifically, because that's where I mainly lived, and Manchester, is that in China you don't get a lot of what we call scallies. In Shanghai, I think in Chinese they call them shabi. I think that's what I heard them called, shabi, and that's like their version of a scally. But I never really detected it. I never, you do see some kids running around or guys that might look a little bit gangsterish. They might have a snake tattoo or something. but nobody fucks with you. That's the thing in China. Nobody messes with you. I was sat in the oh god, my screen's gone dark. Sorry. I was sat in the Trafford Centre the other day, just do it on my phone to my wife, and then this guy came over and shouted something at me, and I was having a video call with my wife, and I don't know what he was saying, but he was just yelling something at me, and I just turned around and went no, and just ignored him. But it's so strange that you get scallies like that messing with you in Manchester. And that's a small proportion of people, honestly. That Manchester is awesome. That's a tiny proportion of people. And Manchester is 99% of the people are great, really friendly, awesome people. But it is a difference that I do notice being back in Manchester, is the tendency for a lot of guys in Manchester to want to be well-hard, as they say in Manchester. Well hard is what I'm saying. It's really a preoccupation with a lot of people's minds. It feels like that. It feels like being tough is priority number one in Manchester for a lot of guys. Again, not everybody, of course, not everybody. But in Shanghai, it feels more like the focus is more on work, trying to make money. Focusing on maybe study for students. Like, for example, I'll see students in Starbucks and McDonald's like working away and studying together in groups and not messing around, but actually working together. I never seen that in England at all. So that's one of the differences that I picked up on kind of quickly. The attitudes are pretty different. The pace of life here feels slower as well compared to Shanghai. Shanghai feels very new, maybe because of the buildings. There's a lot of new buildings in Shanghai. Obviously, China's a massive, growing economy. It's expanding super fast over the past 20 years. There's a new building, skyscraper going up every day, so it feels very new. Whether they're accelerating too fast or not, that's a different conversation. But it feels like when I look around Manchester now and I see old buildings, and the strong buildings, they're made of brick, like the houses, and I see a lot of terraced houses, and I'm looking like, that's a good house. It's a terraced house, but it looks like it's from like the 19th, 18th century, and it could be like that old. It could be over 100 years old, and it's so strange because you do see some old houses in Shanghai. Of course, there's lots of old apartments, but it feels like a much more newer hustle bustle kind of city, like the subway system, for example. It's a lot less busy here as well. That's the other thing. So I'm kind of getting used to it. It does feel very strange for me. Obviously, I'm missing my wife and my dog Louie a lot. I really, really am. That's kind of hard getting used to because I'm going to be away from them for many months. I'll be taking a trip hopefully in December. But getting used to life in England again is really, really quite strange. And living with my family is great. I love living with my family. They're awesome. Obviously, though, they do like their normal 9-to-5 job, and then they come home and they chill out and they watch TV or whatever. And my dad's pretty active. But for me, I'm very much like, I always like to talk about business. I always like to talk about money, or how to make money, or how to build better games or apps or opportunities in real estate, these kind of things. I think my family kind of goes to sleep when they're home because they're really like just tired from the day. And of course, yeah, I am too. Whenever I've done like a commute and been outside for several hours, I'm also the same. So it's real strange. It's very, very strange. The plan is to be here for at least long enough for me to invite my wife over as a spouse visa, and then also hopefully have my own home house as well. I probably won't stay in England for many years, forever. I probably won't settle down in England. It's too cold. The way of life is a little bit too slow paced for me. It's also, I don't want to lose my Chinese ability, my speaking ability either. So that's one of the things. So anyway, moving on. That was just my personal stuff. What have I been doing? Yesterday I went to a meetup in the middle of Manchester, which was awesome. That was a Unity developer game testers meetup called Salford Playtesters. That was really cool, really, really cool. There was only 3 other guys there, and it was only like we only sat down for an hour, and it was just a real informal chit chat about game development and showing each other what games we've been working on, and just having a quick test of each other's games and giving some feedback. But it was great to chat with some guys face to face in the area in English, who I totally understood, you know, because usually the chats that I have are with Chinese, and again, the cultural barrier and the language and the emotion behind it is all quite different. You can't really connect with them. I mean, I can connect with them, but I can understand people from Manchester a lot better. England, obviously. So that was really cool. Showed them the VR shooting game, the Infonox Blitz. Infonox Blitz. Maybe I'll change that name. And I was showing them that, which was pretty cool. I might be playing that in the background here as you're watching, guys. In case you want to find it, it's called Infonox Blitz. That's INFINOX Blitz, BLITZ, and it's the prototype version, which is on Google Play right now. So you can just type in that name and you'll find it. The developer account is Run and Gun Free Games if you're looking for that. So I'll put a link to it in the description as well. So that was awesome. I'm going to go to the next one. I was chatting to some of the guys about funding, about investment, about how they got like a UK game developer fund, talking about VR, which is really interesting. So what I'm going to do is hopefully, the priority right now is I need to find a job here, a full-time job. That is necessary in order to eventually, you know, be registered as paying like a taxpayer in England, to be getting my national insurance paid, to then 6 months later be able to invite my wife on a spouse visa. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm here. The VR game developer fund, or getting funding, or building a team, I still want to do that. And what the plan is for me is to work the full-time job, because I need to. Let obviously the Cobalt Play business run and Panda Tap and let that run fine, but then also use my salary to try and build a team here in Manchester, or maybe get some funding for that, if I'm allowed to do that. Obviously, it depends on the contract with the company. Some of them don't allow you to do that because they've got a non-competition clause or whatever. So that's the kind of plan. Definitely the job is the main priority. I've got to do my resume today, which is just weird. One of the problems with my resume is that it's kind of hard for me to define exactly what I can do and what I want to do, because I've done a ton of things. I'm not a generalist, I guess, when it comes... Well, I guess in programming I am a generalist, but as you guys know, for the past 5 or 6 years I've worked as the CEO. It's a small company, but yeah, CEO. Project manager, tester, designer, developer, marketer, ASO, publishing, BD, working with publishers, working with developers as a publisher, finding new app stores, looking into SEO or ASO, app store optimization, all of those kind of things. I've done tons of those over the past 8 or 9 years. Been working in outsourcing, worked in EA, a ton of stuff. So the problem is I'm trying to define my resume now, and okay, so should I include everything, or should I have 2 resumes, or should I go for a developer job, or should I go for a manager's position? There are more developer requirements, and that might command a higher salary, maybe, because a technical position which is in demand can usually get a higher salary. Because if you got the technical skill, it's usually in demand, or an area which is in demand. Not everybody can do that because it's a very technical skill. So building up my my game development skill in Unity might be very valuable for me, and I can still do the management stuff through my own businesses, by setting up a team here in Manchester. So that's kind of what I've got to figure out. I've spoken to an agency and they've asked me to send a resume, so that's like my priority today, is to get that stuff done. Still working on the VR game as well, the Infonox Blitz, as I just mentioned. Thank you for all the feedback, guys, on the pro section of here on the forum, if you can see this in the background. All of the pro videos in there. I did a post about Infonox Blitz and how it's going so far, and you guys gave some great feedback, so thank you so much for that. The main ones were things like it was too slow to move. One of you said that you died immediately, and it is too hard. The game is too hard for sure. I can see on the leaderboards, I think I'm the only one that's got above 1 win streak, so it definitely needs to be easier. like I said, movement speed, collectibles. I've not added those in. Instructions as well. So I've added in instructions. The players can move faster now. The characters can move faster. Your character has a little bit more health. I've also added a delay to the spawning in the beginning so that it's not so quick, because when they all jump, all of the characters in the AI come together and there's 7 on screen, it's just a mad mash of things. So that's going on. The goal is to get a VR version of that done and then have multiplayer. I might include levels after this update. I want to include levels because I'm kind of getting to the point in the game now where I want that challenge, and I think it needs to be included so that, say, levels 1 to 5 are ultra easy. Any player can jump in and they can win. It's almost impossible to lose, you know, the first few levels. The way that I'm going to do that is probably to reduce the AI health down to like 10 or something for those first few levels, maybe reduce